Welcome friends. Today in the kitchen we are going to make a meatball and a creamy mushroom sauce. This is the perfect potluck dish. So I'm going to start out with some breadcrumbs, and I don't use flavored breadcrumbs. And if you look back through my recipes, you'll find out that I hardly use them at all ever. But I've got a couple of things coming up where I need them, so I'm going to use them today. In next is some dry oregano and some dry red pepper flakes. Now, to this, I'm also going to crush in some garlic. And although I did that garlic peeling hack video, I'd say 9 times out of 10, I just use one of these, crush the garlic in, and most of the time I don't even peel the garlic. So in that goes. Excellent. And I'm using a medium ground beef and then 1 egg. So crack that in. And then best mixer is your hands. Just get right in there and mix it all together. Now, of course, I almost forgot the salt. So with my clean hand, I'm going to sprinkle in some salt. Looks good. So I make these about the size of a golf ball, and just roll them together. Try to get something fairly round. I know a lot of people like them a little bit smaller, but I kind of like that golf ball size. Okay, last one. Now I'm just going to stick these in the fridge until I'm ready to cook them. Okay, so I've got the mise en place done for the sauce. It's time to fry up the meatballs. So I've got this pan on medium-high heat, and I'm going to hit it with some olive oil. Okay, once the oil is hot, we start frying off the meatballs. Now here's the deal. Just like every chefy chef tells you, just fry a few at a time, don't overcrowd the pan, give them lots of space. All right, so the idea here is we want to get a nice crust on the outside of the meatballs, cook them maybe 2/3 of the way through, and build up some flavor in the bottom of the pan. Okay, once the first batch are done, take them out and set them aside. And then fry off batch number 2. Okay, round 2 is done, so we're going to pull those out. And of course, I chose a plate that's too small. How about that? There we go. Okay, got it. Now, next in some diced onion, almost a mince, and you'll notice I didn't take any of the fat out of the pan, I just left it in. That fat is loaded with flavor. So, just want to start frying these onions off and start to get them to that translucent stage, which won't take long. Okay, that looks good. Next in are the mushrooms. Now we want to cook this on medium heat until the mushrooms have almost completely disintegrated. You want to cook them right down. Okay, when the mushrooms are 3/4 of the way there, that's when I like to crush in a little bit of garlic. And we'll cook that in. Okay, now I'm going to add in a little bit of flour, and I sprinkle that in and stir it in at the same time. Don't add it all at once. You don't want it to clump. Once the flour is cooked in, I'm going to add some beer. And I'm going to add some of our Vienna lager. You want to put in about a bottle's worth, about 300 mils. You don't have beer on tap in your kitchen? Now, I know, sorry about that. A little bit of a smart ass. I'm gonna keep this cooking until the beer reduces down and it starts to thicken into a nice sauce, which happens pretty quickly. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of salt and pepper. And then add the meatballs back in. Just kind of stir to coat. Looking good. So now we pour in some cream. Now you could choose to use heavy whipping cream. You could choose to use, I've got table cream, which is 18%. You could just use milk. You could use, creme fraiche would be fantastic in this. There's quite a few sort of sour cream type things that would work really well. But I'm just going to use table cream because that's what's in the fridge. So, you know, use what you've got or use what you can get. So I'm just going to heat this now, just heat it a little bit, and then we're ready to serve.
All right, Glenn, so what do we got? It looks like all my favorites, cream and mushrooms.
Yeah, so it's a mushroom, it's meatballs in a mushroom cream sauce. So it's probably not going to be your favorite thing. But I'm working up new recipes for the Wednesday night axe throwing potluck because competition at the potluck is fierce.
It is. It is.
So I'll probably make these smaller for the potluck.
Kind of bite size?
Kind of bite size.
Yeah.
Put them in a crock pot and have the sauce a lot thinner so that as it cooks over time, it
That makes sense.
doesn't get too thick.
So right now, this is just a flavor check.
This is just a flavor check. Are we in the right ballpark with the flavor?
I'm waiting for your reaction first.
A lot of good flavor in that meatball. I mean, it's a simple flavor. It is a very simple flavor, but I think it's juicy. It's a very juicy meatball.
The meatball itself? Mm-hmm. Sure. I'm not fully convinced on the
cream sauce?
cream sauce, but I'm giving the cream sauce a full effort here.
So you could definitely use a lot less flour than I used, which would keep it from being so thick. Mm-hmm. I used our home brewed beer, but if you wanted to, you could use white wine.
Whatever flavor you like.
Yeah.
You go super crazy and use red wine.
You could use red wine. You could.
Ooh, then you'd have I wonder if it'd be like a purple color.
No, not really, not too much, because I used red wine in the beef stroganoff because that's the original wine that was used in beef stroganoff.
And not that.
And so it's not that crazy in the color. You could also use chicken stock. Definitely, if you didn't want to have alcohol in this, chicken stock would work just fine. So I think for our purposes, I'm going to tweak some of the spicing a little bit for the sauce, make it thinner, make the meatball smaller. And I'm going to beat Blair. Coming for you, Blair. So, this is part of our Axe Night Suppers series, which is going to start again in September.
Woohoo, ready.
I'll run the little promo for you now so you can see what it's all about. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon. So one night a week, Jules and I throw axes in the Backyard Axe Throwing League. So we need something that's easy to cook, delicious, easy to eat, and will give us the fuel we need to win.
First you're going to have to beat me.
Yeah.
Before you beat Blair.
I know.
Uh-huh.